This presentation is just a set of revision questions for you to try on changing states of matter. So for each question, what you can do is pause the video to write down your answer, or if you want to, you can just think about it in your head and I'll move between slides. So after I've asked the question, pause the video if you want to write it down, or pause the video just to think about it, and the next slide will have the answer. Okay? So this question, if you give substances more energy by doing something to them, they can change their state. So if you give substances more energy by doing what to them, they can change their state. So the answer to that one is heating them. So the only way you can give substances more energy to get them to change their state is heating them. Next question. What change of state is taking place? So what state is this? What state is this? And what name do we give this process? So that is a solid turning into a liquid. Or you could have said melting to describe the process. What change of state is taking place here? So again, what is the first state? What is the second state? And if you want to, you can describe the name of the process. So this one is a liquid turning into a gas, which you could describe as boiling. If a solid changes state as it is heated, what state does it become? So if a solid is heated up, what state can it become? Okay, the answer is a liquid. If a liquid changes state as it is heated up, what state does it become? So this one is a gas. So name the process. So the process that describes a solid changing into a liquid. So what is the name of the process by which a solid turns into a liquid? That one is melting. What is the name of the process of a liquid turning into a gas? So what is the name of the process that describes a liquid turning into a gas? This one is evaporation or boiling. If you had to pick one of those words, I would pick boiling. So now, what is the name of the process by which a liquid changes into a solid? So a liquid turning into a solid this time. Okay, that one is freezing. So when a liquid turns into a solid, we call it freezing. What is the name of a process of a gas turning into a liquid? So the name of a process for a gas turning into a liquid. That one is condensation or condensing. So this time, what you've got in the words in orange, you have to choose which word is more correct. So the liquid is heated in a kettle. The atoms or the particles gain, so they gain more or less energy, and as a consequence, do they spread out or come closer together to turn into a gas? So there's two parts to this. The first part is, as the liquid is heated in a kettle, do the atoms gain more or less energy? And the second part is, after they have gained more or less energy, do they spread out or come closer together? The answer is that the atoms gain more energy and they spread out. They get further apart, turn into a gas. So what is the process happening here? So we're told it's a solid turning into a liquid. So we're looking for what name is that process. So that process is melting. The next one, What process is taking place here? So we've got a gas turning into a liquid. That process is called condensing. Now we've got another process here. We have got a liquid turning into a solid. What is the name of that process? That is freezing. Now this is another one. Particles in a gas are held together more or less tightly than a liquid. So pick the word. Is it more or is it less? Particles in a gas are held together more tightly than a liquid or less tightly than a liquid. So that one is the particles in a gas are held together less tightly than a liquid. Remember, in a diagram of a gas, the particles are very far apart, but in a liquid, they're very close together. So this is our final question. Particles in a solid are held together more or less tightly than a liquid. Are particles in a solid held together more tightly than a liquid or less tightly than a liquid? Well, the answer is more tightly. That's because remember the particles in a solid are very close together, whereas in a liquid they're only close together and they can move. So that was a set of questions that we'd hope you'd be able to answer. Obviously, if you struggled with any of those questions, just keep going over this video, practicing these questions until you can get them right. Practice makes perfect. And if you don't understand why some of the answers are correct, if you watch back over the previous videos, hopefully that will make sense to you. So that is us finished the topic of changing states of matter. We'll be moving on to a different topic next time.